Can you fall head over heels in love with a city? Watch this historic, cultural, and gastronomic tour de force of my top favorite city in Asia, Seoul, the capital of South Korea. I only broke one rule while there. Stick around to find out. Reason number 1, JOSEON. Welcome to the land of the morning calm, once known as JOSEON, today's South Korea, and to its spectacular capital, the city of Seoul. The metropolitan area of today's Seoul has over 25 million people, half of South Korea's population. Korea's actual name in Korean is Daehanmin국. Liberated from their most recent occupation only decades ago, Koreans enjoy this freedom with a strong and vital sense of national pride and patriotism, and as such, their historic museums are true works of art. The Joseon dynasty reigned from 1392 to 1894, over 500 years, and has been known for its long periods of relative peace, something rarely seen around the world. Korea's population grew from less than 500,000 to over 8 million during the reign of their Joseon kings. It was the first in Asia to introduce electricity, and today it is hailed as the most livable Asian city. Known historically by many names, but mostly as Hanyang or Hansong, Seoul was founded in 18 BC. 3 main large museums recount Korea and Seoul's history in detail: the National Museum of Korea, the National Palace Museum, and the National Folk Museum. The last 2 are located on the premises of the Gyeongbokgung Palace, and one is dedicated to the royals and the other to the people. The Palace Museum displays regal robes, jewels, crowns, golden seals, and describes the lives and habits of the royals at court. Gyeongbokgung was, after all, one of the main and the largest Joseon royal palaces. The kings kept accurate records of everything happening at court, and Joseon is the best and most in-detail documented era in history, in the UNESCO-listed Royal Protocols of the Joseon dynasty. The lives of the masses were also documented, and many traditions and objects of everyday life of the people have been preserved. I originally fell in love with Korea and Joseon because of their traditional clothing, their national costumes that have a distinct ethereal quality, as well as functionality, ingenuity, and a refined sense of fashion, if I may say so. The extensive National Folk Museum, located inside a stunning gabled-roof pagoda-style building, showcases them in the best of lights, along with ethnographic displays of the folks' homes, professions, and traditions. The striking National Museum of Korea, housed in a remarkable model building since 2005, and capable of showing indoors enormous historic artifacts from their over 300,000-piece collection, such as the 10-story pagoda, extends over 3 floors, additional exhibition wings, and an outdoor garden upon a lake. The ground floor covers the nation's prehistory, all the way to the notable Go-Joseon, 3 kingdoms, Goguryeo, Baekje, and the Silla dynasties. The middle floor moves into medieval and later times, covering the unified Silla kingdom, followed by Balhae, Goryeo, and the Joseon dynasties. Also on the second level, art collections are displayed, including a calligraphy and paintings gallery, and several other donated private collections with over 800 valuable art pieces from across Asia. The top floor is dedicated to Buddhist sculptures, Asian arts from India, China, or Japan, Korean crafts such as celadon pottery, white pottery, and metal arts, as well as the Sinan undersea relics. Take your time to stroll through the gardens as well. And put on your best walking shoes, because Seoul's historic tour has just started. Reason number 2, palaces. After lengthy reconstruction, Seoul's largest palace, Gyeongbokgung, has been rescued. Time, fires, wars, and invaders' wrath and ignorance have caused much damage to Seoul's 5 royal palaces. Fortunately today, Gyeongbokgung, Gyeonhikgung, Jangdokgung, Jangkyunggung, and Deoksugung have all been rebuilt. Now that I got their names out of the way, and knowing that Kung means palace, let's see what the main Gyeongbok Palace has to offer. The center of the city of Seoul literally grew on its doorsteps. You can't miss the palace's grand entrance, the three-arched gateway called Hwanghwamun, preceded by a large plaza with the same name and which leads to the Seoul Plaza, to City Hall, and to the Doksu Palace. The gate is the main stage of the Change of the Guard ceremony, which is reenacted twice daily and is a major tourist attraction. You can watch it from the outside the palace, but don't be alarmed, the entrance to major palaces and other shrines has a very cheap combo ticket price of about $10–15. When inside, a large square greets you, from where you will be heading to the next 6 gates, or to the museum as you wish. Built in 1395, the palace was expanded and used as a royal abode until it was burned down by Japanese invasion in 1592, upon which it remained derelict until its full reconstruction in 1867 with 330 buildings, just to be once again destroyed by Japan around 1910. Only in 1990 that the new renovation started, which removed inadequate temporary buildings and repositioned and reconstructed the originals in the right location. And what a work that was! Learning about the usage of the buildings now open to the public is like walking into a Korean historic drama series. From the throne hall to pavilions, to kings, queens, and princely abodes, to the library and office buildings, they all come to life in all their splendor, surrounded by gardens and ponds. Their decoration and architecture is one more book to read. Let your imagination go wild, and maybe return in season for the few night tours offered and see Cheongbok Palace lit in all its splendor. Doksu Palace sits right across from City Hall, or better said, the City Hall was built right across from the Doksu Palace. It is sandwiched between the mundane life of the city, and you can easily miss the entrance. The change of guard ceremony, though, is loud enough to alert all the tourists about its location. The entrance is about $1, and it will be the best dollar you've spent in Seoul. There are a few major reasons why. First, you get 2 palaces for 1, since the compound includes 2 palaces and 1 art museum. Doksu-gung was a temporary royal abode during the time when all the other palaces in Seoul had been burned down, as well as the last refuge of King Gojong in the early 1900s. Unfortunately, from Doksu itself, less than a third of the structures survived the colonial era. The main Junghwa Hall was his throne hall, but is now reduced by half. Gojong also erected the first modern building in Korea, a charming Western-style pavilion, and the Sokchojeon, which houses in one wing the Korean Empire History Hall, and in the other wing the National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art. What that $1 also buys you is a stroll through the most serene enclave you will find in the middle of this giant metropolis, with a surprising fragrance of a forested countryside, as well as an evening of wandering around a beautifully lit palace by night. Cheongdok Palace, or the East Palace, was built after the large Cheongbok Palace due to sibling rivalry. In translation, after ruthlessly eliminating his half-brother, King Daejong decided to build himself a new palace in the 1400s. He succeeded in building the most impressive of all royal palaces, following ancient Korean traditions of blending the palace's structures with the terrain's natural features, as well as adding a curated natural garden and hunting ground of impressive proportions, which also flows with the landscape. Cheongdok Palace was burned to the ground many times, but immediately reconstructed faithfully to its original plans. Only 13 buildings and 28 pavilions survived, though, until today. Korea's last emperor lived there until his end, and his last surviving ancestors occupied the palace until 1989. Although built with Confucian austerity, Cheongdok's most impressive features are the colorfully embellished gates, ceilings, and trims. From all Seoul's palaces, these impressed me the most. Aside for the vibrant greens, orange, reds, and violet blues, it also blends in the delicate pink hues of cherry blossoms. When the sun sets, The palace's trims look almost extravagant. The so-called Huwon or Biwon Secret Garden was a playground of the Joseon kings, where the royal entourage attended feasts, archery tournaments, military maneuvers for the king, parades, fireworks, and the likes. A feature built in the 1600s consisted of a carved U-shaped stream used to float wine cups, a waterfall, several pavilions, and poems inscribed in stone. It really makes you think of the Versailles. UNESCO listed the palace as a World Heritage Site in 1997, mainly because of its design and gardens. These offer rare moonlight tours, a good reason to return. Reason number 3, parks. Parks and recreation. Where do Seoul residents go to unwind? With such a densely populated urban area, it is expected from a highly advanced city as Seoul to have created spaces for relaxation reachable by most of its people. In truth, these places are so many that I can hardly include them all, but a few that stood out to me. The Sokchon Lake, around Seoul's tallest building, the Lotte Tower, is the largest in the city. Its shores have been lined up with cherry trees, as well as with parks, entertainment venues, and a flexible jogging track. The shopping and entertainment options around it are insane. The Hanggang parks are nature parks and trails that line up the shores of the Han River. The wide river crosses all Seoul and has picturesque landscapes and bridges, illuminated by night. Some of these bridges also serve as metro tracks that unite the two halves of the capital. The Han is a natural estuary for birds and is not used for navigation, except for a few tourist entertainment boats. Hongdae and Itaewon are two entertainment districts meant for walking, shoulder to shoulder with many others, to feel like a small ant in a sea of people, and shop, eat, drink, dance, and watch street performances. You need to have been there at least once to contemplate the insignificance of your existence, one of the humbling aspects of traveling. The Cheonggyecheong Stream is an old 10 kilometers long sewage canal that has been repurposed and transformed into a lovely urban park right in the center of Seoul, with a hefty investment of about $300 million. It is crossed by 22 bridges, and it hosts annually lantern festivals that you have to see. The Seoul 7017 Sky Garden is one other centrally located reformation project that turned out magnificently. A derelict highway overpass was transformed into a 1 kilometer long pedestrian trail with 24,000 plants and many art pieces. Nearby building facades light up as well to join the purple-lit sky park throughout the night. Last but not least, Seoul's Namsan Tower, the city's highest antenna, is a playground for all ages, and lovers in particular. Surrounded by parks, the tower is a legit tourist attraction, with viewing levels, top restaurants with panoramic views, souvenir shops, games, and the likes. More of Seoul's playgrounds coming up next time. Reason number 4, DONGDAEMUN, particularly DONGDAEMUN Design Plaza, one of my favorite modern places in Seoul. Let me try to describe what it is. DONGDAEMUN is a creature of some sort, with tentacles, sprawling lazily on the ground, breathing through its metal skin and watching you with compound eyes like an insect. I know, I'm stretching the boundaries of your imagination, but I'm not far from the truth. The brilliant architectural marvel designed by Zaha Hadid was destined to spill like mercury in between the past, present, and future of an area that had once been iconic and deserved nothing but a spectacular upgrade. Built over and around old landmarks, archaeological excavations, and in between an already existing busy Seoul area with large department stores and huge markets, the DDP successfully plopped there like out of the sky to fit in perfectly and to remain relevant for at least one more century. Its cover is a see-through metal skin that truly allows it to breathe, to move, and to connect its insides with the outside world. The technologically superb building is covered with a grass lawn and is dedicated to the arts. Its surroundings are truly vibrant, particularly during Seoul Fashion Week, which happens twice a year, a perfect time to return to Seoul. A week-long street fashion party joins the by invitation-only fashion shows. You can catch, though, all the models, photographers, and many celebrities moving about, running to change outfits or to give interviews. K-pop rookie groups and even seasoned groups do surprise performances, and a large screen keeps you up to speed with all the fancy shows held indoors. On many other weekends, you can catch art exhibits, craft fairs, food truck fairs, as well as high-level art and fashion exhibits. Reason number 5, Namdaemun. After you walk from Jeonbok to the Doksu Palace, keep going and you will end up at the Namdaemun south gate of the city and the Namdaemun market. Market of what? Of everything. It is a matter of practicality. You can find vintage camera parts, hotcakes, second-hand clothing, dumplings, souvenirs, bed linen, spoons, fresh tofu, auto parts, sneakers, K-pop merchandise, jewelry, fish soup, baby clothes, unique designer fashion, keychains with pompons, traditional hanbok dresses, persimmons, pots and pans, sunglasses, cosmetics, ginseng, wholesale supplies for other stores. What else? You only need time to explore it and to remember where you started. Not only is Namdaemun an old market since 1414 with a long history and tradition, but is also enormous. It has outdoor stalls, street stores and vendors, but it also has huge buildings you can get lost into that each specializes in something like jewelry, garments, fabrics, accessories, weddings, baby clothes and toys, and so on, with over 5,000 businesses. The market is managed in-house by a group of vendors. It has sporadic food courts, fresh markets, coffee shops, famous hot dog cakes and dumpling sellers, and it does stay open until 4 in the morning, but it closes on Sundays. The area around the market is known for the late-night pokamachas, ambulant restaurants on wheels, with one shared bench and counter. I call it eating with strangers, and it is an experience worth trying, for the food, and for the fleeting kind of friendships you can run into. If Namdaemun's hustle and bustle is too much for you, find local markets. The city is full of them. Be it in Itaewon's Noksapyeong section or in Jamsil or in any other district, there are markets and food streets. If Namdaemun is too small for you, go to the DONGDAEMUN market. It has 50,000 businesses. That side of Seoul is for me the most charming. Namdaemun was my favorite place to buy souvenirs, artisanal hanbok accessories like norige tassels, decorative objects of nacre or black lacquer with mother of pearl inlays, tableware, handmade linen, as well as one-of-a-kind handmade clothes. Traditional Korean crafts can be very refined, truly exquisite. Aside from the markets, you can find examples in galleries and museums. It is always nice to visit these first and get inspired before you go bargain hunting. Reason number 6, Gangnam. The touristic points of interest of Gangnam are located in the divisions of Jeongdam, Sinsa, Apgujeong, and Samsung, where you can visit the following: the charming shopping streets of Apgujeong or Karosugil, the financial district around COEX, with the Gangnam Style statue, the Bogensa Temple, and the Starfield Library, among many others, and the famous upscale shopping street that runs along the K-Star Row. The subway will take you, but the rest is up to you. Gangnam is fascinating. It is the home of choice of the rich and famous, of arts and fashion, of cool and elegant. But don't be fooled. Gangnam is not a pristine rich quarter. It has as many back streets, convenience stores, and mom-and-pop supermarkets like the rest of Seoul. Make sure you wear comfortable shoes. It does go up and down many hills. Let's start with COEX. It is an impressive cluster of meeting and convention venues, performance halls, large department stores, malls, stunning architecture, the World Trade Center, 5-star hotels, and many financial institutions. All around are nicely groomed parks, wide boulevards, and an impressive number of sculptures and street art. The world's largest underground mall houses a spectacular underground library that you can't skip, the Starfield Library. It has a transparent atrium ceiling that peeks out from the underbellies of the mall toward the sky to softly illuminate the 13-meter-tall bookshelves. The library carries 50,000 book titles and 400 magazine kinds. Thirsty? Hungry? Want to unwind? Find your way to Apgujeon Rodeo, an area with eateries, coffee shops, retro and hip local fashion boutiques, and basically everything that is cool and up-and-coming in Seoul. Stores are fancy but avant-garde, many of mixed use, concept stores with workshops and coffee shops like those you see in modern K-dramas. For the serious spenders, Jeongdam is your mecca. Every conceivable high-end fashion brand has a flagship store there, with impressive storefronts and most probably carrying all the limited edition collection pieces that regular stores don't. Plus, you get the likes of Corso Como with their fancy eclectic arts and fashion galleries, as well as some ultra-expensive malls. Start at Seoul and walk to Burberry, but don't miss the side streets. Jeongdam is a sight to behold, home to K-pop labels and to a ton of celebrities, from Jungkook to Taehyung. If all of this is too much, I recommend you to head to Karosugil. It is a mix of funk, folk and fancy with even more local designer enclaves, a perpetual Karl Lagerfeld pop-up store and a lot of whimsy. If you are just looking for regular malls and department stores, leave Gangnam behind and take the subway to Jamsil. You will need a week to explore it all. Reason number 7, NAMI. Rarely will you find an island with a more fairy tale-like story. A story that was so much believed that it became reality. It all started in the 1400s with a wrongfully accused young man who was put to death by a JOSEON king at barely 28 years of age, and whose grave was said to bring bad luck if disturbed. This folkloric tale was eventually exploited in modern times, and a protective enclave was created around his grave for touristic purposes. That enclave became a country. Embraced by two arms of the North Han River, the half-moon-shaped island is located near Chuncheon, a 1.5-hour drive from Seoul. In 2002, Nami Island became the location of a hugely successful romantic K melodrama, and the rest is history. Well, upon that history rose a profitable resort, with visitors flocking to Namisum to witness the island's incomparable beauty. The story does continue, with the island officially declaring itself a micronation under the name of the Nami Nara Republic, with its own currency, the Nami Dongbo, its immigration offices issuing visas to each and every visitor for a mere $10 in lieu of charging entrance, with their own flag, coat of arms, an anthem, and a prime minister. The republic's population is about 1,000 people. And since it is located very near a large Republic of Korea Army division, they were gifted an old tank by the country of Korea as a symbol of even having their own military. Aside from the lore and the country, Nami Island is a treasure trove of natural features of incredible beauty, fairy tale contests, artist studios, and the likes, all helping to promote a sense of peace and harmony. I believe that every person in Korea must have been there at least once. Reason number 8, INSADONG. Since so much is known about Seoul's past from the UNESCO-listed royal protocols of the Joseon dynasty, we can easily follow the city's geography, district by district, and see what was there before. And this is how we know that the main street of INSADONG was once a river that separated two sides of the rather posh area where government officials lived about 500 years ago. Some of the dwellings and other iconic historic monuments are still around. With time, the river became a road, and many homes turned into stores, selling antiques, artwork, calligraphy brushes, and other traditional Korean crafts. Today, you can add to these a large number of coffee shops, traditional restaurants, tea houses, arts and crafts malls, boutiques, and souvenir vendors. The area has a particular charm for bringing the past into the present. or better said, allowing the present to gently infiltrate the past. Side streets add a lot of charm to Insadong. On one of these streets, at a traditional Korean restaurant, I had the best hot cast iron bibimbap ever, as the first snow of the year was gently falling down. I highly recommend it. Not far from Insadong, there is one more of Seoul's historic areas open to visitors, the Bukchon Hanok village, with Hanok meaning Korean traditional house. In fact, Insadong is part of Bukchon. The beautifully preserved homes also belong historically to the nobility of Joseon, and currently about 3,500 residents still live there. Daily visitors, who outnumber the locals tenfold, are kindly asked to behave, but they don't always do. If you do pay close attention, homeowners have, here and there, found means to benefit from this nuisance by selling tea in small tea houses or crafts by opening the doors to their studios and workshops. I found that to be Bukchon's biggest charm. Some tea houses charge a very small entrance fee, which includes the tea by the way, to avoid people just wandering around. The rooftop few have mesmerizing views over Bukchon's blue-tiled roofs. Go find them. Reason number 9, Myeongdong. I am by a million miles not an expert in Korean cuisine, simply because it is so vast and varied that it is hard to keep up. More than anything, respecting the processes of food preparation and the finesse of certain ingredients that I have never met before makes it rather complicated. Thank heavens that Korean street food is much less demanding. So follow me to Myeongdong Street Food Market to see what's on the menu. Myeongdong is one of Seoul's principal shopping districts for local and foreign brands, high to mid-tier mainly, including global fast fashion brands, as well as over 1,000 cosmetic stores, huge department stores, and so much more. It is located near NAMDAEMUN, and it receives about 2 million shoppers daily. These have to be fed eventually, thus a very nice food market strolls in each day at sunset like ducks in a row. The experienced cooks are ready in a heartbeat to start serving their specialties. I was impressed by the cleanliness and by the cooking abilities of each and everyone. From grilled lobsters to potatoes on a stick, from egg breads to chicken fried in every possible way, all palates are covered. There is seafood, like octopus or clams, tteokbokki and fish cakes, meatballs on skewers, kimbap, Korean pancakes, japchae noodles with vegetables, baked sweet potatoes, juices and desserts, and so much more. If you get to enter a restaurant, go for a hot samgyetang soup of chicken and ginseng, just divine, or maybe a bossam pork shoulder boiled in spices. Or a jjajangmyeon, a beloved dish with noodles with black bean sauce, or samgyeopsal, grilled pork belly, or anything you don't understand on the menu, it's all good. Myeongdong is not the only street food market. Each corner has a small version. Koreans eat a lot out on the street. There is one permanent giant street food market that you should look for if you have a chance, the food section of the Gwangjang market by DONGDAEMUN. It is permanent and impressive. You can hardly navigate between the stalls for the abundance of people sitting down and enjoying in peace their meals. Each cook has a mini counter and benches or stools, and the plates are dispensed with lightning speed. The amount of banchan side dishes piled up at each stall is truly picturesque. Sit down and be a local for a day. Reason number 10, SOJU. The drinks of choice of Koreans are makgeolli, 맥주, and soju, with makgeolli being a milky-looking, slightly bubbly, fermented rice wine, 맥주 being beer, and soju being a mild spirit mostly made of rice. Both soju and makgeolli have a bit of sweetness to them and make a wonderful accompaniment for any Korean dish. Makgeolli is the older of the two, and there are mentions of it from BC times. It has always remained a farmer's wine, since it is fresh and has a short shelf life. The unpasteurized kinds consumed locally do keep fermenting in the bottle. It remains the cheapest alcoholic beverage in Korea, at about $1 for a regular wine bottle. Makgeolli is also made of barley, wheat, or even beans, and is fermented in clay crocks, same as kimchi. In Seoul, the most consumed makgeolli is the Jiangsu brand. On rainy days, you have to drink makgeolli with baejeon, Korean pancakes. It's the law. Since everyone knows what beer is, let's talk about soju, the most Korean of all Korean alcohols, since the 13th century. It is hard to put it in a category. The alcohol percentage varies a lot, so soju has been named a wine or a spirit, although technically it is a distilled spirit. It is mild, but it gets you. What you see in K-dramas, people downing the bottles by the dozens, is literally lethal if you ask me. But what is true is that soju is consumed everywhere. Sitting outside of the convenience store where you bought a bottle for $1 or $2, at barbecue restaurants, at home with friends, or at karaoke bars, or anywhere. A few years back, Korean Jinro Soju was the most sold spirit brand in the world. Since Koreans love to recycle and soju manufacturers agreed to use the same green bottles, over 90% of these are reused yearly. The local drinking culture is one of the most baffling things to me. Koreans count among the world's heaviest drinkers, with lots of rules, pressures, and etiquettes to follow, including the no right of refusal when it involves your superiors from work or the older member of your family. That doesn't mean that an adventurous spirit such as mine can sit and have a bottle of spirit somewhere in public, bending all Korean rules. I don't advocate for breaking rules in foreign lands, except this one. Cheers and konbae! Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please don't smash any buttons. Just gently like and subscribe for more. The world is vast and it's all yours. Next time, you might also want to fall in love with this next destination over there. Thank you.